All right, we're back. So hopefully you guys are super pumped going into the weekend. Obviously, all weekends are amazing, especially in the summer. So get out there, do something fun, enjoy it. But before you do, obviously, watch this video. This is awesome. We're going to be doing the top 8 social media marketing tips for 2024. This is halfway through. So we're going to see how these stack up. He posted this video 7 months ago, so right at the beginning of 2024. Gary Vee is obviously a huge marketer, big into ads. He has his agency, VaynerX, a lot of sub agencies under that provide a lot of different services. So really amazing guy. He gives more than he gets. And of course, he wants to buy the jet, so he's a pretty cool dude. But if you've been watching my channel before or first time here, be sure to subscribe to the channel. Man, messed that up early in the video. But be sure to subscribe, doing videos like this almost every single day of the week, reviewing marketing and business tips to help you not only grow your business, get more leads for it, but also invest the profits. So be sure to subscribe to the channel. And with that, let's just hop right into this video.
Was a young man marketing for my dad's liquor store and wine store. If you wanted to get people to know about you, you had to pay. You had to pay. I had to pay a newspaper to put an advertising in the newspaper. I had to pay a cable company to run my TV commercial. I had to pay for a billboard to show my sign. I had to pay the marketing direct mail company to make a flyer and send it into your mailbox so you would see it. I had to pay. Today, the attention of the world lives in here. The things that dominate here is gaming and entertainment and social networks. People here complain that they're not getting a lot of views on their videos on Instagram or TikTok or these platforms, but they have forgotten that it's free. Let me say this nice and slow. Today, if you were to advertise on social networks, the cost of showing up, not making it, but showing up is free. This is crazy. Google, which I used a lot, Google AdWords. How many people here do Google AdWords pretty aggressively for their business? A little higher, I just want to get a sense. A lot of you.
All right, so just going to highlight one thing he said here about paying for distribution versus literally having free distribution on social media. Biggest thing is like you get what you pay for. When you post organic content, it is free, right? You don't pay for it. I mean, you give your time, but as far as distribution goes, like you still have to give your time to create ad creatives, right? To do cold outbound, to do TV commercials. You still have to give your time in some way, shape, or form to get that creative out there, in addition to then paying for distribution. Now, the difference is when you pay for distribution, and someone like Neil Patel, he also owns an agency, he would really say deep down, and he would do it based off of the data, but he would say that organic marketing doesn't give you the highest ROI. And this is in part because it's what you pay for. They have to have a competitive advantage, because if you could just post organic content and generate more leads, why would you pay to get that distribution? However, one of the things we've noticed with our clients that run ads, and they primarily come to us for help with organic social media marketing. One of the things that we've noticed is their ROAS, or return on ad spend, has gone down significantly in recent years, but when they couple that with organic content, their ads perform better. So again, as we move further into the future, we are running into these hybrid scenarios where you just can't run ads unless you have deep pockets or an amazing product. You just can't run ads to sell your products or services. You also have to create organic content for the targeting to work right on social media and for you to get a good ROAS.
Google charges you money when somebody clicks. Not everybody converts. You try to figure out if the amount you pay, do enough people convert, that it's worth your money. But it still costs you money. The social network revolution is insane. It is free to build brand. Most people in this room, most people in Brazil, most people in South America, most people in the world do not produce enough content for how big the opportunity is for free attention. That is the biggest elephant in this room today.
For you today, what would be the top 3 platforms to be on? Because there are so many. And what would you do on each of them? If you were starting now, what would you do on TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, or Facebook?
Yeah, so I think, again, back to the earlier point of self-awareness, if you're selling B2B, all of a sudden LinkedIn is number 1, right? If you started a SaaS business, if you're listening right now and you want to, or you sell to lawyers, you have a service that sells to lawyers, then LinkedIn's going to be number 1 globally for sure, with YouTube Shorts probably being number 2 because YouTube is a search engine.
Yes.
And a lot of people search there, so that would also be good if you were into SaaS. And then probably in that scenario, I would then say, if you're selling, a B2B service, after those 2, probably Facebook, grounded in a Facebook group, with then Twitter X being probably 4th. If you're selling SaaS, Instagram's probably a distant 5th. Right. Snapchat, Pinterest, they're super far away in that scenario. If you're selling t-shirts to 15 to 25-year-olds, all of a sudden TikTok becomes number 1, Instagram probably becomes number 2 in that scenario, and YouTube Shorts is number 3.
Right.
So I think for a lot of people, that's that reality. For broader markets, I think that if you're really trying to sell something, like to the broad consumer, call it for everybody who's 25 to 55. Well, now you start getting into Facebook still being an incredibly powerful platform for selling. I do think that organic TikTok for branding is exciting. Instagram, again, becomes a stronger selling platform, but both of those scenarios require ads more than organic reach.
Yeah.
Whereas TikTok, you can win on organic reach and kind of capture lightning in a bottle. So, I hope everybody appreciates the answer. It is contextual.
Yeah, so I would agree with just about everything he said there. The only thing is if you're just starting out, and this is kind of like what I recommend to clients, but you need to look at like the type of content you're going to create, whether it's long form, really long form like podcasts, long form YouTube, perhaps a live format like this that's then reposted to YouTube, or short form vertical content. If you're doing short form vertical content, who you're targeting, like the platform matters, but if you're making the short form vertical content, you're still going to get distribution of all of those audiences on different platforms. So Instagram might be your priority, but you should darn well repurpose that content to TikTok, to YouTube Shorts, to Pinterest Idea Pins, maybe even to LinkedIn. LinkedIn is like, unless you're doing B2B, you probably shouldn't be on there, right? But it's kind of one of those coin tosses, right? Where you just never know how things are particularly going to work out on LinkedIn, especially with that platform evolving as it is right now.
Now, what's the importance of diversifying your content?
I love you for that. Clearly, maybe I've been a little bit loud about this last 60 days. I'm writing a new book next year. It's going to be called Day Trading Attention. So I've been in it, trying to teach everybody how to win on every platform, TikTok, YouTube, because social media is the current place where attention is. If the metaverse comes, I'll be telling you what to do in those fucking headsets. I don't care where attention is. Cable TV 20 years ago, I'd be writing books like Cable TV. 40 years ago, regular TV, regular TV. 80 years ago, radio, how to hack radio. I just want to know where the attention is. Spotify rap caviar is important today. It used to be called TRL. It used to be called The Source. Yep. It used to be Hot 97. I don't give a fuck. I'm agnostic to what platform has the attention. I just want to figure out where it is and want to be great at it. I don't hear social media. I hear TikTok. And then I double click. TikTok regular post, TikTok live. Different. I don't hear LinkedIn, not just where you put your resume. No, I hear that's a social network. Double click. There's regular posts. There's video, there's written word, there's pictures. This is science. It's skill. So diversifying content is the #1 reason that the person on the other side of this video right now is not popping off like he wants to. People get stuck in ruts. They got something that worked for them or they're comfortable with, and they're posting the same shit they posted 5 years ago on Instagram, even though a ton of people are now on TikTok.
All right, you just hit on something that I want to really add value in because I can add value here. One of the things people really think about systems in business. And when it comes to content, if you're doing organic content, it's really tempting to systematize how that content is created. But people build or optimize for the wrong system. People optimize for getting content out the door in a certain format, like Gary Vee just said, of the content that does well right now and how to make more of that content that does well right now. But what people don't do, and the machine you should actually build, is you should build a machine that constantly develops content that will perform well with the time. And what that actually does is it means posting content that underperforms along with content that can also perform well at that time, with also new content that can hit it out of the ballpark. And that is a really much more complex machine from a creative standpoint to actually build than just saying, hey, let's pump out a ton of like face to camera videos, or a bunch of trending B-roll videos, or a bunch of like whatever the trend is on TikTok. Because those things are a lot easier to build than actually putting in the work and saying, hey, what is our creative process going to be for developing new types of content, like every single month, every single year, and so on and so forth.
And Instagram, so there's less that's different. And we've already seen all that shit from you, and they get tired. We all grew up with shit that was hot as fuck, and then 3 years later it was less hot because we got it. That's why Madonna was a beast. She was like, oh, I got you 4 years. Now I'm a material girl. Now let me go on a cross and some I'm gonna do this and I'm gonna be Vogue. And she just kept mixing it the fuck up.
Remixing,
right?
kept
right?
remixing.
We understand. And by the way, we see that all the time. Like, there's the people that have one pitch and they're hot for 3 years and we never heard about them again, right? And then there's people that are fucking icons. Why? Because they diversified their content.
That's major.
HoneyBook is a complete client flow management platform, which allows me to do everything all in one place. When I quit my 9-to-5 job,
The best YouTubers in the world, starting with Mr. Beast down, spend more time and more money on their thumbnail than you could ever imagine. So number one, for everybody who's gonna do video, and again, that's a whole nother conversation, because for some people it should be written word, so some people should be doing audio, some people should be doing video. But I think the thumbnail on video is incredibly important. I think the first 3 seconds thing that Dustin and I were talking about on our trip this week is, do we need the hook from the thumbnail to be delivered on in the first 2 or 3 or 4 seconds? And we really believe we do. We believe that if my hook says, 30 to 40-year-olds, you should be thinking about LinkedIn. And if my opening line is like, before we get into that, you might, in 2 seconds, you may lose that audience. And so I think a lot of science around the art. I think a couple of other things. There's a lot of ways to do it. Let me encourage some people. One thing that I've been noticing is on Instagram, you could just take a photo of something, right? You were here with your friend this weekend in New York. You could take a photo of like a nice picture that caught your eye in New York, take a photo. But if you then wrote 3 paragraphs, really great ones, because you're a great writer, about the concept of enjoying the weekends to reset, of the concept of busyness and chaos, in controlled chaos, is an effective way to be an entrepreneur. You could write curiosity. I've been to New York 7 times, but I've never gone down this street. Right. Like, you could take a photo of anything, a banana, a car, a tree, a bird, your backyard. You really could take a photo of almost anything and then write 3 or 4 paragraphs that are very thoughtful about a point you're trying to make. Now all of a sudden, you don't need a video and editing team. Take a photo. You could do it all by yourself. And for a lot of people listening, they're not great on camera. They're not great with their words, but they're incredible writers. And so it's around self-awareness of the style, the content, and then there's strategy around the distribution depending on your business. And so that's one main theme. To keep getting very nerdy and deep on your question, the other thing to always look for is underpriced attention. Yeah. The thing that I know you know about me over these last 7-8 years is that I have a very strong skill set in understanding where there's more organic reach.
Here's the absolute crazy thing, at least in my opinion, is that when he talks about underpriced platforms, is there is always going to be a hot platform and there's always going to be a cold platform. And what I mean by this is there's going to be a platform that people are posting on more because they think that's the platform to post on, like that gets the most leads, like TikTok, for example, right now. But an underperforming platform might be Threads because it was really hot when it launched, but then people backed off. But there's still users on it. Instagram users still get notifications when you post on Threads. And when you look at that, you can say, hey, there is probably less content and more users. So if I post on there, I have a greater chance at getting more viewers than not, right? And no matter what is going on with any platform, there's always going to be a platform that has opportunity, that has extra leverage. And again, going back to like what I was saying about having short form versus long form content, and if you have short form content or even long form content, you should be, and with the tools nowadays, it's not that crazy, it's not that difficult. You should be dispersing that content to as many platforms as possible, because you don't know you don't know when those platforms, when your content is really going to take off and trend, right? And if you don't post, you have absolutely zero opportunity for your content to trend, versus if you post, you at least have the opportunity for your content to go and get views.
Against consumption and when to do it hard than most people, and that's been a big part of my success. You were there when I was yelling about Musical.ly and TikTok when that seemed crazy to almost everyone. You weren't there, but people that have been following me all the way back to 2005, 6, and 7, there was an incredible amount of content and passion I had around YouTube and Twitter and Facebook. I mean, I wrote Crush It in 2008. Came out in 2009, but I wrote it in 2008. That's 15 years ago.
Long time.
So I think that I constantly look for the underpriced attention. It's always most exciting when it comes up in a new platform, but new platforms only come around every 3, 4, 7, 9 years.
Yeah.
Then when it's not a platform, it goes into the things we just talked about, the strategy within the platforms.
Yeah.
I talked about recently, and it's already lost momentum in a month, but a month ago, I was incredibly excited about posting a meme and then a video on Instagram, a 2-post carousel.
I saw that.
And, you know, I see incredible opportunity in that. Again,
And you know, you see a little bit of that still going on Instagram. Let's see, 7 months later after this video was posted. But yeah, it has died down a lot. And it's just because, and like this book, is it Marcus Sheridan who wrote Hook Point? It's a good book. And the most valuable thing you can take away from it is that when you have initial hooks or new strategies that are most effective in the beginning, as more and more people see what that hook or what that strategy is, so meme and then video, the effect wears off over time, because the human brain and society becomes used to seeing that it's not this new thing that has this glow to it. So again, going back to when you're creating content, you need to create the machine that allows you to create new types of content that has virality, not just the content that's going viral currently.
Almost talking to Dustin, I'm almost having my own meeting right now. One thing that continues to work for me is taking headlines that are happening in pop culture business and doing a green screen and talking over it. That model continues to work better than if I just looked in camera right now and talked
And
about
even when the green screen screen video is not great quality, like it doesn't look good, but it works.
Correct. To your point, my last one, which did really well, I was in the car and the light was hitting a different way and it was.
Here's the crazy thing. High quality, high visual content doesn't always perform the best. Crazy, but sometimes like the green screen effect, or being in your car, or being out and about showing that you're like actually doing something, you're not a basement dweller. I could be a basement dweller for all you know. I mean, I do have a window right here. You can see the light. But I mean, for all intents and purposes, my type of content where I'm sitting down with a DSLR in front of my face, streaming, doesn't perform as well, typically speaking, if I do short form content recorded on here than if I use my phone and I'm out and about, or I'm in my truck, or I'm in my car. And with Kenda, it's even crazier. Some of her best performing content, it actually comes when she films in her car.
Was it like I was like distorted. That's right.
Content. I always said to myself, do I got content or I'm just documenting my journey? Because I'm going to live this shit whether you record it or not. So what's the difference between content and documenting the journey?
Yeah. There was a moment, there was a kid in here, it was a big moment for me. It exploded for me. we were just chopping, and because thank God I was filming back there, and I just said, he's like, I don't know what to make. I said, document, don't create, right? People have shoot days. I'm an influencer. I'm on today. I'm gonna make some. That's commercials, that's TV. That's fine, by the way. That works for a lot of people. People like you and me, and a lot of people out there, we should be documenting, not creating, right? Because what we do is just who we are. It just, you know, the best shit you ever said, the best shit I ever said, it's lost. I said some shit to my sister the other day. I'm like, motherfucker, I wish that shit was filmed. You know, like it's, so the difference is not a lot. The key for everyone is to be self-aware of who they are. Some people, this is what blew me away. Maybe this hit you too. As my life started changing, I started rubbing elbows with different kind of people. I'm like, yo, some of these comedians and actors like suck in real life. But in the context of doing it for film, they're beasts. And then I did enough TV and different shit. I'm like, oh, this shit's slow. You go do a movie, you're like, da-da-da. All right, back in the trailer for 3 hours. I'm like, fuck this shit. You know, for other people, we like it. Raw, clean, authentic, no bullshit, no fucks with it. Like, that works for us. So for everybody on the other side, there's two groups. There's the people that should do it the actor's way, like they should make the studio proper. They need their they need to memorize their lines. And then there's us, more improv. We're more SNL than we are feature film, right? Improv, live life, on stage, or, you know, in the kitchen, around a dinner table, chopping, stoop life. It's that shit. And so, cool. Like, neither's better. The key is, does everyone on the other side of this know who they are, and are they trying to force it? What is universally true for everyone in this room, regardless of where you are on the journey within this industry, is that the far majority of individuals, humans here, and companies are not taking advantage of what's happening in LinkedIn right now. So just from a pure practical standpoint, there's so many wants and dreams and hopes and things that you want to happen in this room. And one of the most significant opportunities to make that thing happen is actually knowing how to make content for LinkedIn and actually posting it and actually reaping the benefits of it. LinkedIn right this second is acting like a social network more similar to what Facebook was in 2013 and 14, and the land grab for B2B companies and B2B2C companies that I've watched over the last 2 years grow and explode. And really, I won't use the word exploit, but just so everybody understands, no ads, just taking advantage of best practices to create organic reach is disproportionately the underpriced attention, the underutilized move of this collective room. You can literally make videos and pictures and run $25 to $50, $100 on LinkedIn against employees of venture capital firms and reach them and not have to go to conferences and pray that you'll run into them in the hallway to pitch them your startup.
Yeah, there's some like crazy opportunities if you're going for like super niche areas, especially on LinkedIn, to target them, because it's not like you're trying to sell a mass market product. You're trying to target a few thousand people maybe in a specific niche or industry. And again, if you're running ads with the right offer, it can be immensely powerful and lucrative to do that.
And this is results tomorrow. LinkedIn content for your business. You can literally reach everyone, so many people's agendas here today is to do business development, right? You'll listen to my talk, but what you're worried about is what's gonna happen out there and what's gonna happen tonight. That's why you're here. That's the actual business. The fact that I know that scales 365 days a year, if you spend the 5 or 10 hours to do research on how do I make good LinkedIn content. By the way, there's an incredible website that will tell you everything you should do. I know some of you are taking notes. I'll spell out the website for you. G-O-O-G, thank you for doing that. That made my fucking morning. You can literally type in, how do I make LinkedIn content for an insurance SaaS company, enter, and get obnoxious amount of results with best practices. This isn't about, when I talk about this stuff, they're like, Gary, but how do I do it? That's like saying, how do I get into shape? Everybody here knows how to get into shape. It's called stop eating shit and go to the gym. Doing it is hard. I promise you that if every person here leaves and does proper, because there's the right way to do push-ups versus the wrong way, does proper LinkedIn content 3 times a day, that they would see miraculous results for their business a year later.
I was $20,000 in credit card debt when I started. It was really scary, but I
overestimate the results and underestimate the effort that you put into it to make it work.
Taylor Swift,
Yes.
Travis Kelce,
Yes.
have changed the NFL's business.
Yes.
Without the NFL being a part of its plan at all.
That's right.
Like, what is the
The cross-pollination between Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift in NFL audiences, and perhaps even Taylor's music, kind of crazy. It's one of those like things that you'd never think that would work out quite the way that it did.
attention message from? I know you're a big NFL fan.
Yes,
so
I am.
Like, is there a message in that?
Yes, of course there is. It's actually one of the biggest parts of the book, which is that everybody on earth underestimates pop culture. What happened with Taylor and Kelce is they're cross-pollinating their platforms. So if you're a mechanic in Detroit, like I said in this post on social, you're not thinking about hitting up the Thai restaurant down the street to do a piece of social media content. I know that's true today. Yet, that's the kind of left field post that will get people's attention. And so what I see there is, what do I think about pop culture? I think it's one of the most significant currencies on earth. What if you're lucky enough to have an employee that works for you?
So one of the things that we do with our content, when he's talking about pop culture, whenever there's a really big piece of drama that happens in the news that is even remotely related to what we do at Laney Media with content, marketing, sales, business, any of that, we are stitching it, we are making content about it, we are optimizing for keywords on the platforms, and there's a lot of virality in just reacting to what is going on, what is big, what is the drama in current pop culture. Because again, what he's talking about here, day trading attention, as he says, is where is attention and where can you leverage the max to get the biggest returns today.
That's first name is Travis and another one that's first name is Taylor. Like literally you're a law firm. Travis Johnson, Taylor Smith. Maybe they're both guys because Taylor is obviously a name that can go in either way. You can easily use the micro moment of the infatuation of our society to do something clever and silly. What people don't realize is that little clever video on Instagram that only got 90 views. One of those 90 views is someone who's actually considering to hire an attorney, and they actually like the fact that you were a little silly and not buttoned up, and you made them feel more comfortable to reach out to you to work with your law firm or your dentist's place or your, people are very linear. They don't realize how big pop culture is and how they can factor into their boring business. I had a gentleman reach out to me who has, literally I used a concrete cement business in one of my analogies in a piece of content. He literally owned a asphalt business. He literally started to make TikToks even though he thought it was the wildest, craziest thing he'd ever heard. And it literally has doubled his business. An asphalt seller, like guy that comes and redoes your driveway, made a couple TikToks, one went decent, another one went viral, and literally, if I recall properly the email, a business that was doing $800,000 a year, servicing a local area, I think he was in Wisconsin, is now doing 2.5 million. The tears were coming through the email. But most people who are listening to this podcast who are in a B2B or like a different kind of business are not thinking how TikTok can work for them.
Right, and pop culture doesn't necessarily mean that you need to have your celebrity endorser.
Correct.
You're playing off of what the conversations that are going on.
It's like being good at a cocktail party, right? Think of this as your social media marketing. You go out tonight and it's a fundraiser of your local PTA or the school or it's the banquet for the high school basketball team. Are you the kind of person that comes to that event and you're enjoyable to talk to and have a circle around you, or are you in the corner by yourself? The reality is being an introvert and not being comfortable in that is incredibly appropriate and awesome. As a business, you'd like to think that you're trying to market and get business. And so to me, there's so much more permission for creativity than people allow themselves. But people continue to wear their suit and tie in their LinkedIn profile. And they don't understand the room is what I also ultimately think. I think you take the most stuffed up person you know. Literally, I want everyone to close their eyes and just think about the most kind of buttoned up, stuffy, rigid person you know. I promise you, If that person goes to Las Vegas right now with their best friends from college for a weekend, they're going to be a different version of themselves than you know them. And I think businesses and brands have more permission to be contextual to the room they're distributing the content in. When I make Facebook content, I'm thinking about parents because I know the demo's going to be older. Those are gonna be different videos that I'm putting into TikTok where I know they're gonna be youngsters. The words and the videos and the slang and everything I say and do is different. Yet I believe most people are just making a video and then pushing them out on these channels and expecting for it to succeed. They think of it as distribution. I think of it as a place you have to be contextual to win the room.
I would just ask maybe what would be some advice that you have for someone who's just starting off? What are some things maybe you've seen specific to the fitness industry that have helped scale, and then maybe just in general, eventually I'd like to kind of grow my own kind of personal brand, be able to down the road step away from the gym and just kind of grow online.
Amazing. Everything I just heard, and as you can imagine, there may not be a more cliche stereotype than the fitness dude who built a fitness business on social and then decided to teach everybody how to build business and build a personal brand. You're like in my pocket. The answer to the question is you need to post 30 times a day on social media, but you have to be good at it. So what you need to do is what I just said about AI. You need to start Googling and YouTubing and podcasting and educate yourself on something I call SOC, strategic organic content. Not just posting happy fucking Wednesday and hoping it works. Like, why are you posting? Let me just pull it up right now. Watch this. They're like this. I'm going into my phone. I'm going into my content team WhatsApp. And apologize, I need to run to a meeting, so I'm gonna run out pretty quickly here, so I apologize. I'm gonna scroll up. Here it is. Here we go. This morning at 7:21 a.m., Mackenzie on my team said, good morning. I need you to post at 5:04 p.m. and 7:07 p.m. on Instagram. One needs to be a carousel, one needs to be a reel. This is called the science behind the art. I'm not out here posting randomly for ha ha ha. My social media strategy is not the following. All of yours is. I need you to understand the thumbnail, the first 3 seconds, what time you post, how many words, which platform, what's going on LinkedIn carousels, that's different than Facebook carousels, Facebook Reels, what are broadcast channels? Do you know what the fuck is going on? This is now the television. And until you understand that, you are leaving money on the table. Back to scaring them, this is how it works, brother. Right now, everyone, most likely, is just leaving double growth on the table. And then it becomes the thing that puts them out of business. And so.
Yeah, here's the other crazy thing is, just like you said, leaving double growth on the table. So like basically saying you're just not growing. And what happens is if you just don't grow, your competitors just will outgrow you and you sink into oblivion, right? Complete irrelevance. Use it or lose it.
Please take this serious. What you need to do, how many times a day do you post? I know it's nothing. How many?
Probably once a day. Probably one post a day.
And some days not even, right?
Yeah, some days not even.
Right.
Even better about one a day and flooding the stories and stuff.
Right.
It's just Instagram.
Think about where I am in my career and where I want to go and where you are. You want to grow. You're day one.
Yeah.
I shouldn't be the one in this relationship posting 55 times a day. You understand?
Yeah.
You will get customers on LinkedIn. You will get customers on YouTube Shorts. You will get customers on Snap Discovery. You will get customers on Pinterest. And you're in the best business. You're in the visual business. Take your shirt off and let's go. I gotta go. Love you.
So tons of great tips here. I mean, I don't think any of them, like, I gave my feedback on all of them. Gary Vee, obviously, he's like the GOAT. And there's nothing that I would terribly disagree a ton with on here. You know, his last comment about posting 30 times a day, little wild to me. Would love to see that because some of the platforms like Instagram, they don't really love it when you post that much on Reels, for example. But maybe it's just on your stories. Maybe it's on carousels. Obviously, there's more depth, more layer in doing it. And maybe he's just saying you need to post 3 times a day on 6 different platforms. You know, that's 18 posts plus your stories. That gets you to 30. Again, if you don't post, no one knows who you are. Unless you're going to call everyone or pay to reach people. But again, there's only so many ways that you can acquire new business. So at the end of the day, you just have to decide what is best for you, what works best for your business, and what your goals are, and then you have to go after it and you have to hit it. That being said, I hope you guys enjoyed this review video. Please let me know if there's any videos that you guys want to see reviewed. Just drop the URL down below. And as long as it is business or marketing related, would love to take a look at it, do a review video on it. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel. It makes a huge difference to me, reaching more entrepreneurs just like you who want to grow their businesses and invest the profits. So have a great weekend, guys, and see you next time.